is something I feel is stalking me at night, and I would like y'all's advice. For context, I live in Illinois on the edge of a suburb an hour away from Chicago, and the area I live in is full of forest preserves, empty space, farms, and large areas of dense forest. We are also not allowed to fence off our yards. Last year, around this time, I started going outside a lot recently, and in my yard, just outside of the area reached by the light from my house, by a shed that we have in the back of our property, I saw something. It looked like a shadow person, but much more real. Like a full-ass, humanoid-looking thingamajiggy. It was barely visible, but my friend, who I was walking to his car on the edge of the property, about 60 yards away, he saw it too. I started to encounter it more. Sometimes it wasn't a sighting, but maybe I would hear a few twigs break, or I would see something rustling in the bushes, or I would just feel its eyes watching me from afar, which was a very common sensation. One night, a couple weeks later, I was at the aforementioned friend's house, about 3 miles if that. It was 3 a.m. and we had just gotten back from a McDonald's run, and I was sitting at the table alone while he and a couple other friends were heading to bed upstairs, and left me alone on the first floor. I felt that dread kick in, and right as I turned around to look through a window, right fucking behind me, I saw something run past it on 2 legs, in a humanoid fashion, and fast as fuck too. Looked like a fucking coyote or maybe a deer, but it was running like a full-ass man. Another time, we were working out in my friend's basement, and we heard someone, or something, scream outside. He grabbed a shotgun and handed me a spear. The fuck is a spear gonna do, asshole? And when we went outside to check, there was no one there. He has had that happen twice now. Another time, after a bonfire at my house, me, him, and a group of friends decided to go on a walk through the neighborhood by my backdoor neighbor. So we're walking around at night past all the trees and houses, dicking around, when me and another friend of mine decide to walk into an area of the woods that I've never been in before. I have lived in this house for almost 6 years now, so even though I am a homebody, I go for runs and shit and explore. So we were probably a good 20-minute walk from home at this point, since we were getting in a woods, and the only houses were farms and shit. I walk into this dark-ass wooded area, and it immediately drops like fucking 10-15 degrees. I started getting paranoid, and I noped back to the road. My friend who walked in with me claims he heard someone calling his name, and he says that he saw a humanoid figure slinking around the trees, like it was trying to stay hidden, like some fucked up animal. We almost had to go in and drag the friend out, because he just did not want to leave the woods. Thankfully, he snapped out of it after a few minutes. While we were walking back to my house, we noticed the area go weirdly silent, like not even cicadas or anything. Then, the smell hit me. It smelled like fucking death, like rotting meat. Safe to say, I schizoed out, and I noped out of there with everyone else following behind. And after that, I have smelled the rotting smell time to time, and it wanders around my windows late at night. My house is at tri-level, and I'm in the bottom floor, so my windows are exactly ground level. I've even heard animal calls, or I've seen a figure stalking outside my yard. A silhouette looked like some weird human coyote thing, or maybe I was just tired or something. Another time, I was out biking down a bike trail with my friend, and we got deep in the woods at night, and I swear to shit, we both were able to hear something in the bushes following us, despite us pedaling hard as fuck. I also got that uneasy feeling of being hunted in all of these encounters, like some survival instinct that I am not the apex predator in that situation, and I don't get that feeling very often. One time, last winter, I had found tracks of some kind of animal in my yard after a small little encounter of seeing a figure outside by the shed. I brought out a North American wildlife tracks book, and the tracks matched none of them. I have a story, Anons. Not ghosts, but I still can't explain it to this day. Work at a pizza joint with my bro, Jose. We like to go gym after we close the store. Pretty late at night most of the time, around 1 to 3 a.m. Our schedule on work nights is close store, drive to my place, drive to his place, go gym. One night, as we're leaving my house to get to his so he can change, something about the road we're on just feels wrong. Like it was too long or time was just crawling by. No comment at that point, just decided I would keep driving, and we would be on our way to the gym in no time. Get to his house, no problem. Get water, get to pet his dog for a second, and I hit the road in my Honda Civic around 1:30 a.m., which is not too late for us. Pull from his driveway, pretty much in a woods, and make a distinct turn right to get us on the road that'll lead to the gym. Driving's no big deal, shit is casual, but we end up on the opposite end of the road, at its other entrance. This shit is not possible. Drove past the exact shit we always do on the first road to gym. Same yield sign, same shitty billboard. I throw the car into park, and I look over at Jose. He looks exactly how I feel. Just confused into a state of fucking shock. The first thing I say is, "There's no fucking way that just happened." And he just kind of nods in agreement. Literally get out of my car and look around, genuinely at a loss. Hadn't ever felt adrenaline like this before. This was not being mildly lost or getting turned around. Slump back into the car and just sit there for a few, trying my fucking hardest to rationalize what had just happened. Eventually, I hit an illegal U-turn and drive to the gym. No more temporal fuckery involved. Went gym with him for like another 2 weeks. And then, our friendship kind of fell apart. We both left the pizza place, and just... shit felt too weird, man. It was my first ever post. I wanted to get this off of my chest. It's happened a year ago now, I want to say. Okay, me again. Same house, and around the same time of night. This one's a little different. Another night, around 2 to 3 a.m. Sat at computer, feeling tired but really invested in whatever I was doing. One of my feet is resting against the baseboard of the wall behind my desk. Feel some heavy movement, and I hear a heavy thud. Wall is an exterior wall. Around where my desk is a gate between the front and backyard. Have outdoor cats that will usually jump that fence when they come home. Realized that was way too violent to be one of the cats, even the fat one. Stand up, grab pistol that I keep nearby because it's not a great neighborhood. Walk the rear door, open it, and wait for eyes to adjust since it's pretty dark. See silhouette of something about 10 or so feet away. Can't make out anything more than the general shape. Humanoid, but in a strange pose, like it's down on all fours, but is holding its ass in the air. Long body with long and skinny limbs. Fucking what the gif. Back in the house with my pistol still raised and staring at it. Hasn't moved at all since I noticed it. Door shuts as I get the light on. Throw the door open again, and nothing. What? Go back inside and wake my dad. Tell him what I saw. Man brings out his .45 and we investigate. Surprised that he took it as serious as he did. Check the gate that I'd heard. Locked and otherwise normal. Go around to the other side and check that gate. It's wide fucking open. Shut it and make sure it's locked. Go inside. No sleep that night. It's been nearly a decade since that happened, and I haven't been able to reasonably justify what that thing was. Mostly because of how tall it would have been if it wasn't hunched over the way it was. Its ass was damn near at my chest level. Spooky ghost out there, trying to throw ass. You beat me to it. I've got a couple more. This girl I used to date had weird shit happen in her house too. I was 17 when this one happened. Hanging out at home on a Friday night, early fall of 2014. Get a phone call around 8:30, 9 p.m. It's my girlfriend. Answer, expecting her to invite me over for drinks or smoke, but instead, she's frantically chattering that I need to get down there. Grab the essentials, cigarettes, pocket knife, etc., and I start walking. Feel strange for most of the walk. Not so much like worry or anxiety about the call, but dread. I remember that very clearly. Walk takes about 10 minutes, chain smoking the whole time because of the weird feeling. Girlfriend and her friend/housemate are sitting in the kitchen. They've busted into the girlfriend's mom's vodka, because she wasn't home. I ask them what's going on and they both start chattering, almost talking over each other. Girlfriend was in her room, studying a bit with some music. Nothing unusual for her. When the room got very cold suddenly. She got up to grab a jacket so she could keep up with what she was doing before checking the thermostat. As she gets up and turns around, she sees what she describes as a bright white, sort of transparent haze that comes into her room from the hallway and up into her closet super fast. It apparently hovered there for a little bit before disappearing into her closet. She was already kind of spooked by this, but then she heard what sounded like a male voice whispering or muttering from inside her closet. She noped out and ran to her friend's room, trying to explain what had just happened. Friend gets spooked but is hesitant. At this point in the retelling, her friend quiets down and she's just staring at the table. Girlfriend tells me that while they were talking about what she could have seen, they hear a muffled laugh from the area around her room. Manic laughter. Following the laughter, the light in friend's room explodes. Literally fucking explodes. They bolt out and go outside for a while to collect themselves and smoke. They claim to have heard some more noises from inside. Thuds here and there, but it calmed down after a while, and they went in to sit and grab a drink to calm down. I'm sitting there, fairly spooked myself. They explained they called me because, at this point, I had some experiences with spooks, and that I could take girlfriend with me to my place. I agreed to tag along as they grabbed their things, after a shot of vodka for courage. We stay grouped up since they don't feel safe alone. Go to friend's room first, since it's closer. Walk in with flashlight apps on. See the broken bits of light bulb on the floor. The room is a lot colder than the kitchen. Hold my light while she packs her things. Feel tense, but am still trying to rationalize things. Hear a thud from the adjacent wall, the wall between their rooms, and everyone jumps a little. Friend picks up the pace, throwing clothes and essential into a bag, and we scoot back into the kitchen for another shot. Go to girlfriend's room. It's super cold, but the lights are still on. She starts to pack. I'm helping her pack things to pick up the pace, occasionally glancing towards the closet because I feel like I'm being watched. As we're finishing up, a loud crash comes from inside the closet. I pull my phone out and shine my flashlight inside. One of the wall-mounted shelves had collapsed. Finish packing and scoot outside, lock up and hang out for a bit, waiting for friend's ride to pick her up. Girlfriend and I start walking home, smoking and talking a bit. We're still feeling pretty tense. Any noise around us would make us jump. Swear that we see things in the reflections of windows. Get home, explain situation to parents. They say it's fine if she stays for a little while. She stayed for the weekend and we had to call her mom who had been working late that night. Sunday rolls around. Spend the weekend hanging out and just trying to take our minds off of the spooky shit. Decide probably for the best for her to head home since her mom was going to be there. Walk over in the early evening, feeling a bit anxious but otherwise enjoying the fall weather. We get there and her mom is hanging out outside the table, smoking and messing with her phone. She tells us that she hadn't seen or heard anything when she got home that night, but she didn't doubt what girlfriend had told her. Explains that the house was owned by her brother prior to her. That's how she ended up owning it. Brother was troubled and struggled with mental illness and drug addiction. He was always getting worse as time went on. He would roam around the house, breaking shit and throwing fits as he did so. He lived alone most of the time, except for the few times that he had roommates. He hit a breaking point, and in one of his fits, he killed himself in the closet of girlfriend's bedroom. One of the roommates said that he was just laughing and then stopped. They found him a day later when someone finally opted to check in on him, since he was usually doing something when he wasn't having an episode. Girlfriend and I hung around past nightfall. Nothing spooky happened, so she opted to stay home. Besides a few small things, nothing spooky happened at that house for as long as I dated her. I'm forgetting a few things, I'm sure, but that was one of the strangest things I'd ever heard, let alone experienced. This happened early last winter, at Army Basic Training, US. About 5 weeks in, meaning we're learning to use our rifles. Go to the range to qualify with our iron sights. Pew pew da JPEG. At one point, I'm just chilling at the ammo point loading magazines and such. Need a bathroom break. Over by the latrines I'm waiting in line, idly looking around. Suddenly, notice a bunch of graves in the distance near the trees. What the fuck? Really old graves. all crooked in different shapes, and weather modeled. I point them out to someone and they're just like, oh, huh, yeah, weird. Someone else mentions that parts of Fort Leonard Wood were built over the ghost town Bloodland. This range was probably built around an old cemetery. I think, huh, that's pretty neat, and I carry on. Later I'm back at the latrine as a battle buddy. Can't go anywhere alone in basic training. Someone asked me to accompany them to the latrines. Waiting outside looking at the graves because I like spooky stuff, like cemeteries and ghost towns. Are they closer than before? Nah, that can't be. Fast forward a week or so. We're now at the same range, qualifying with our laser sights. I'm positive it's the same range because the same cadre are there, the layout is the same, and the classroom is the same. And our drill sergeants keep saying, we booked the same range, the lanes are familiar, there's no way you can fuck this up. I head to the latrine again at some point. We're encouraged to drink a ton of water, that's why I'm always at the latrine. No graves. Turn to the person in line next to me. Were there graves here last time? They don't know. I know there were. The fences, trees, etc. are all the same. But no graves. As I'm waiting, I'm kicking around rocks. There's one with writing on it. I kneel down and pick it up. I've seen this at ranges before. People write their address with, mail me this rock, or something on it. Trainees are easily amused. This just had an eye drawn on it. I shove it in my pocket so I can show my baymates later, and I forget about it. Fast forward a few hours. We're about to leave the range, not allowed to leave without doing a shakedown. If you leave something in your pocket during the shakedown, it gets chucked. Forgot to take the eye rock out of my pocket, and my drill sergeant finds it as he's patting me down. The fuck, Private? Why are you playing with rocks? That's weird. Motherfucker about faces and chucks that shit so fucking hard, it probably switched dimensions. Rep Ghost Rock. It's worth noting that pick-related is Bloodland Cemetery, and it is, in fact, the only cemetery on the ranges at Fort Leonard Wood. It's at a location of miss and hit range, not a qual range. In fact, the way the lanes are set up makes it impossible to be a qual range. We wound up going to that range and the graves there were completely different, more numerous, and arranged differently. This is where it gets kinda weird. Don't know if these two instances are related. We're getting ready to head back to the barracks. I'm platoon guide, meaning after I file my platoon onto the bus, I have to count everyone on. I always touch people's shoulders as they get on because it helps me count. My platoon has 61 people in it. I count 62. Whatever, I just miscounted. Not gonna say anything though, lol. I'd tell the drill sergeant that I counted 61. On the bus ride back, everybody's quiet. Some companies don't let privates sleep on transport. My company encourages it. So everyone is knocked the fuck out with their faces in the rucks. I take the opportunity to recount. I get 62 again. But to be fair, it's hard to count with people standing in the aisles, faces in their bags, and etc. I count again as we unload. 62. Huh, what the fuck is going on? We form up, do another count like we always do. When we do head counts in formation like this, everyone yells their number and kneels down, so we know we got an accurate count. 62. Everyone is pissed because we always mess up the count. Because if we could fucking count, we wouldn't have joined the army. We count again. 62. Did you count yourself twice, platoon guide? You know I didn't, bitch. We're second platoon. At this point, first and third platoon are making fun of us. Haha, second platoon is being retarded as always. Drill sergeant comes out to yell at us for not being done yet. I tell him we keep getting the wrong count. That something's wrong. I'm a square, and therefore trustworthy, so he believes me enough to do a company-wide count. We should have 183. 184. We do it again. 184. Third and first aren't laughing anymore. Everyone is looking around, studying faces. We go again. 184. At this point, the drills start arguing quietly. Finally, one of them goes inside the barracks and comes out with a numbered list of every private. Hand counts it to be sure, and then starts reading it. Every time he calls a name, he and the other 3 drills watch the private sound off and kneel. He gets to the end of the list, and everyone is kneeling. No one has left the formation. We do another count. 183. What the literal fuck? Second platoon does a count, and we get the proper number, 61. The drill sergeants that don't have to stay overnight say, fuck it, and go home. CQ drill sergeant, basically, one has to stay all night and make sure we don't do anything retarded, shrugs and looks at me. I don't know how, but this is your fault somehow, Anon. I am promptly fired from being platoon guide. He sends us up for hygiene time and gives us a final formation time. Formation time comes. Everyone on my floor is running late. I'm a bay leader. Bay leaders are always last out to make sure no weapons get left upstairs and etc. I check the latrine. There's a trainee in there, still only half dressed. She has a severe leg injury that needs surgery, so she's allowed to be a little late to final formation, as long as she has a battle buddy. I look around for anyone else, and see a pair of pale bare feet through the gap beneath one of the closed bathroom stalls. I knock on the stall door, say, "Hey, make sure you wait for injured private's name," and I leave. When I get downstairs, my platoon does another count, 60. At this point, everyone is pissed at this numbers bullshit. This time we figure out pretty easily who's missing. It's the injured female, and since she's the only one missing, that means she's upstairs alone. Abandoning someone is one of the worst things you can do at basic. Everyone is freaking out because this means we're gonna get fucked up. I insist that someone was up there with her. We watch the side of the building where the female's only exit is, and sure enough, she comes crutching around the corner. "What the fuck, you guys left me?" Insists that she triple chucked the latrine for a battle buddy after we all left, and no one was there. Everyone has just about had it with me, but I know what I saw. Luckily, the drill sergeant is running late and comes out right after she gets in formation, so we're able to play it off. For the next couple weeks, various people on my floor claimed that they saw or heard things, especially at night during their guard shifts. Typical stuff. Sounds, shadowy figures, etc. I was inclined to believe them after what I saw, but those kinds of sightings are par for the course at basic when people are tired and stressed. So, I didn't know that they were connected to what I saw. The fact that the sightings and complaints greatly increased after I saw the pale ghost seems significant though. I wouldn't even consider the whole experience as paranormal, but one more thing happened. A few days pass with no incident. Then, one night, I have a very, very vivid dream in which I wake up in the middle of the night, crawl out of bed, and slowly walk to the latrine. Get into the same stall that I saw the bare feet in. I pull my cell phone from my waistband. We didn't keep our phones on us at all in basic, but otherwise it's still very realistic. I even noted that the lock and home screen wallpapers were the same. After unlocking the phone, I get a call from a random number. Immediately after answering, I hear a man's voice say, "You found my eye." I don't respond. "It's okay. I'm coming up to get it." He hangs up. I delete the number. Must be a mistake. I'm woken up from my fire guard shift at this point, by the previous shift. I look at the time and I notice I'm late. I ask her why she didn't wake me up earlier, and she said that she tried, but that I sat straight up, yammered incoherently, and laid back down again. I assume my shift. About 20 minutes later, I'm sitting at the guard desk, trying not to fall asleep, when I snap awake. The fucking eye rock. I don't have it anymore, my drill sergeant yeeted it. My face when he comes to get it, and I don't have it. How did he know my number? I remember that he said he was coming up, not coming there, and I start panicking slightly. Shiftmate wakes up and tells me to shut up, goes back to sleep. I cannot sleep at all that night. For some reason, this has scared me more than the sight of literal ghost feet. I wound up getting injured and honorably discharged, and nothing strange has happened between now and then. I know they were probably just weird, coincidentally related incidences, but if it was something else, I'm just glad it didn't follow me home. Be me. I'll call myself Gregory, 20, college kid at ASU. That face when gym rat. No gains in the love department, though. From a small rural town in Illinois. Not used to the Wild West vibe of Arizona. Pumped as hell for this camping trip in Monument Valley Park. Always had a thing for outdoorsy adventures. But this is next level. Check out my crew for the trip. Alicia, 19, Mexican, hotter than a summer afternoon. Those green eyes and black hair do things to me, man. We've been quote-unquote friends for a while, but lately, the tension's thicker than a pot brownie. Then there's Sarah, real outdoorsy chick whose family has been in America for ages. Knows her stuff. Found out she's 1/5 Navajo or something. Here we go. Always useful for local legends and tales. Kind of reserved, but damn, does she light up when talking about plants, animals, and nature shit. Next up, James and Emily. Literally inseparable. Probably attached at the hip or something. James is the typical college onions, atheist, always has that actually look in his eyes. He is chill though. Emily's his opposite, more free-spirited, into all the spiritual and mystical stuff. Wonder how they even got along sometimes. And then, there's Robert. Used to be your typical stoner philosophy guy, now rocking a huge cross necklace and rambling about orthodoxy. We met because of class, became friends through debating existentialism and joints. Says he's trying to quit weed, but he's packed enough for the trip to get a small country high. Is of Russian descent. Throws in random Russian words every now and then, probably to sound cool. Love him though. He's funny in his weird way and his stoned rants are legendary. Pack up our gear and set off in 2 cars. Alicia and mine because why not? Hour-long drive filled with music, laughter, and Alicia's hair occasionally brushing against my arm. Might try my luck this trip. Reached a campsite in the afternoon. Stunning red rock, that JPEG. Buttes and spires stretching towards the sky, like nature's skyscrapers. Robert starts setting up camp with Sarah, revealing surprising efficiency. Meanwhile, James, being the weakling he is, struggles with the tent poles. Emily chuckles, helps him out, and night starts to set in. Perfect time to bring out the stash. Robert's trying to quit, but doesn't mind us sparking up. Cliché stoner circle commences. Sarah starts talking about the park, local legends, Navajo tales. Mentions something about creatures that take the shape of animals. Probably just trying to spook us. But Alicia looks genuinely concerned. Make a mental note to ask her later. Night is full of laughter, munchies, and stargazing. So many stars. Makes the Illinois night sky look pathetic. Slowly drift off in my sleeping bag, excited for the adventures tomorrow will bring. Wake up, feeling like I've been hit by a truck. Probably a mix of the weed and sleeping on the hard ground. Stretch out and see Alicia's silhouette against the rising sun. God damn, she's a sight. Makes everything worth it. Sarah's already up, brings some coffee over a small camp stove. Robert's doing some weird Russian Orthodox morning prayer. Or maybe he's just still high. Who knows with him? James and Emily are tangled up in a mess of sleeping bags and limbs. They'll probably be at it all morning. Decide to explore with Alicia and Sarah. Alicia seems distant. That Navajo story must have spooked her good. Ask her about it. It's just, my family from Jalisco has similar tales. Shapeshifters, evil spirits. I thought they were just stories to scare kids. Reassure her it's just campfire tales, but she's not entirely convinced. Spend the day hiking. The landscape is unreal. Monument Valley isn't just a backdrop for old Western films. It's like another world. Giant red rock formations. Vast stretches of nothingness. Feel small. Insignificant. Robert probably has a speech for this, but I'm not going to ask. Sarah, with her knowledge, shows us ancient petroglyphs. Depictions of daily life, hunting scenes, and, weirdly enough, some creepy animal-human hybrids. Starting to see why this place might be full of legends. Evening sets in. Decide to have a barbecue. Wait, hold on. If she's Navajo, then shouldn't she not be fucking talking about this? Isn't that the whole damn fucking thing? Alright, now I'm annoyed. Anyway, evening sets in. Decide to have a barbecue. Robert, in between his religious lectures, proves to be a damn good grillmaster. Steaks, sausages, and some fish we brought. We are eating like kings. James decides to get philosophical. Probably the weed talking. You ever think about how we're just tiny specks in the vast universe, man? Oh boy, here we go. Robert chimes in with some deep take on humanity's purpose and God. Debate gets heated. Steaks get cold. Not mine, though. Keck. Night's deepening. Decide to light up again, turning the atmosphere from argumentative to chill. Everyone's sharing stories, laughing. The tension's gone. Decide to make my move on Alicia. We drift away from the group, find a secluded spot. Things are going well. Then, she freezes. Do you hear that? Strain my ears. Hear a faint, eerie screech, like an eagle, but off. Decide to head back, not wanting to freak her out more. Join the group. Keep it to ourselves. Just a weird desert sound, right? Hours pass. The embers of our campfire glow dimly. Everyone's in their tents. The desert's alive with sounds. Can't shake the feeling that something's watching us. Just paranoia, right? Wake up in the middle of the night to a piercing cry. Sounds closer than the one Alicia and I heard earlier. Shit. Zip my tent open just to peer out. See a massive silhouette circling our campsite. Like a huge bird, but there's something off about it. This ain't any bird I've seen. Feel Alicia stirring next to me. She's heard it too. Greg, what the fuck is that? She whispers. Before I can answer, Robert's voice pierces the silence. Everybody stay in your tents. How the hell is he so calm? Watch as Robert begins to mutter a prayer under his breath. He holds out a cross. I remember him mentioning it's been passed down in his family for generations. The bird doesn't seem to like it, lets out a louder, angrier screech. I'm paralyzed, unsure of what to do. Sarah starts whispering something, joining Robert in his prayers. Whatever they're doing, it seems to be working. The shadow retreats. The screeching fades. We all emerge from our tents, shaken. Even James, who's usually skeptical about everything, looks pale and disturbed. The atmosphere's thick with fear. Robert speaks up. We're not safe here. That was a warning. We need to prepare. James scoffs. Prepare for what? A pigeon? Robert doesn't even reply. He's busy digging through his backpack, pulling out what looks like an icon. My grandma gave this to me. Said it would help in dangerous times like this. He ties the icon to his waist and ties a kitchen knife with paracord to a long, sturdy branch, creating a makeshift lance. Kinda looks like something out of a medieval tale. We decide to set up a watch, 2 people at a time. No way we're getting caught off guard by that thing again. Another hour passes. Desert night, colder than ever. All you can hear is the fire and everyone's heartbeats. But then, another noise interrupts the quiet. Distant at first, then louder. Thumping, like gigantic footsteps. Shadows dance on the horizon, cast by the moonlight. Suddenly, from the shadows, emerges a gigantic black wolf. It's the size of a damn car, and it's staring right at us. Its eyes, cold and glowing, fix on Robert, like it recognizes him. Robert steps forward, faunal form spear in hand, adorned with religious icons and other blessed artifacts that he just brought, I guess. Hanging around his neck, his heavy Orthodox cross. Say a prayer, something about St. George. The beast snarls, but there's also fear. The wolf circles Robert, who starts singing a haunting Russian hymn, each note echoing in the night. The sound waves physically pushing the beast back. It's working. This is so fucking corny. But the wolf is smart. Oh my god, give me a break. It lunges at Robert, attempting to knock the spear out of his hand. Robert dodges, thrusting the spear into the ground, causing a bright light to emanate from it. It's a standoff. Man against monster. Suddenly, from Robert's backpack, a flask of holy water. He opens it and takes a swig, then sprays it at the wolf while making the sign of the cross. The wolf recoils as the water hits it, smoke rising from its fur. It lets out an agonized howl, but Robert's voice, chanting in Slavonic, drowns it out. The beast, more agitated now, charges again. Robert, in a move reminiscent of an old Cossack warrior, sidesteps and jabs his makeshift lance. It hits the beast, doesn't wound it fatally, but Wolf is clearly hurt. Wolf, howling, turns back into an eagle and attempts to flee. Robert, with surprising agility for someone who just fought a wolf, throws his lance skywards. It pierces the creature. It crashes down and just disappears. We rush to his side. He's bleeding from his right arm and legs, but he's good. It won't be gone for long. We need to leave. Now. pack up our camp as fast as we can. We leave the place behind. The drive back is really fucking intense. Every shadow, every noise had us on edge. By morning, we reach town, exhausted but alive. Promise each other to never speak of the events again. But the memories, the terror, it stays with us. Robert's cuts heals, and now he has a badass scar on his arm and legs. Oh my god. Alicia and I finally both grew the balls to talk and seriously go out. Whoa, what a big old fucking shocker that is. Sarah dives deeper into her culture and its mysteries. James, well, he's a little less skeptical now. As for me, I still love the outdoors. But now, I make sure to bring Robert. And then everyone applauded. Hooray!